Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, I look a little rough. Yeah.
What's wrong?
So, so I look a little rough.
So do I. I feel a little rough.
Yeah, I did. Like I was telling you backstage, I did one of those things where you go, I'll just chill, take a little nap for a minute, and then it was one of those naps that make you feel more like crap than did good
To
for
send you
you.
into the land of confusion.
Yeah, exactly. Like woke up, I was like, babe, tell me when it's 9 o'clock so that way I can do my homework and blah blah blah. And she's all, it's 9 o'clock. And I was like, what? Already? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, son of a. And so I was like groggy headed and getting up, and yeah.
I'm
No
sorry.
window
I did
for
the
nada.
long show earlier, so I'm just like, I'm tired again.
Bristol said it was a great show, though.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun to do.
What'd y'all do?
We talked about Bigfoot and Dogman and the community in general, and we were trying to raise money to help Bethesda, which is a um, charity up in Oklahoma that takes children who are survivors of SA, and it helps them like regain their confidence and offers therapy. And specifically, we were raising money because they have a camp every summer for kids, and it costs about $250 per kid for them to attend this camp. And I think we raised nearly $5,000. Like it was just over 4,000. Well, it wasn't just in that show. I mean, there was already a substantial amount of money in there, but we were able to get it up over 4,000 for sure to help pay the way for these kids to get to the camp and the counseling and the therapies that they really desperately need after experiencing something like that.
Well, you definitely got a coupon into heaven on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse with Hellbent Holler, I think, discovered this, and she's the one that organized it. And the Blondes and the Booze and Paranormal Roundtable were all contributing, like through merch and everything, to help raise money for this. So I think it's obviously, in my opinion, it's a great cause. So if anybody has extra jingle that they can throw that way, I mean, any amount, even if it's $2, like that's $2 closer to children that need it, getting, to camp and therapies, and they'll, helping them try to regain some sense of normalcy and reclaim their lives after surviving what I can only imagine is like the most horrible thing ever for a child.
Yeah, it ain't no punk, that's for sure.
I imagine not.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, because a lot of people speculate the fact that when, I guess, content creators or whatever, that it's just for, like our own beneficial means and needs and wants. So it's good to know that
sometimes it is. I mean, to be fair, sometimes it is. It goes towards channel maintenance. A lot of the channels have expenses. Like StreamYard is not free. Like, I mean, if you want any kind of capabilities behind the scenes, you gotta shell out some dough.
Yeah.
And the time you take, some people, maybe don't have jobs that pay $100,000 a year, and every little bit helps them keep their channel going and progressing. So, well, that show specifically was indeed for a charity. I mean, not every donation that goes to every show all the time is for that. So
right. Yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at is usually you look at like the big creators that are making millions of dollars off of it, and they're and you see them like chilling in their big mansion, and it's like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
and you're like,
tell you, like, if you can parlay this into something that's paying you out millions, and you know, you've got more drive than I do because I don't give enough of a shit to do that.
Yeah, no, sure.
I will never, I
And
will not be retiring from my YouTube fortune of like $10 a year. You know?
right. Yeah, exactly. And like what Bristol's saying, StreamYard, it is, man. I mean, I'm not knocking it because I'm on it, but it's kind of like one of those things where if they know you need it, they can. It's like the electric bill, right? Like, oh, it's summertime, so we can kick
Guess
it up
what?
as high. We can kick it
Yeah.
up as high as we want. And
You can either pay the money or fry. We don't give a shit either way.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Are
No sweat off our nuts.
are Canadians paying this much in the summer? I don't
Right?
think
You
so.
steam you like a freaking lobster. We don't care.
For real. So yeah, so you had a busy day then.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was a fun show. Like I really, outside of the blondes and Nelly and oh my gosh, I see her face and I'm blanking. Maddie. I don't know why I'm trying to say Megan, but Nelly and Maddie were on there as well. But I know of Jessie with Hellbent Holler, but I've never talked to her before. And then there was Barb, who was on there, and she's out of the Pacific Northwest, and she's in our chats a lot of the time. She has her own little group going on up there and her own investigations, and she's really sweet. And I enjoyed meeting her and talking to her. So it was pretty cool. And we were talking backstage. We're going to try to get this going on the regular, and we'll just circulate it around our shows. Like each of our channels will take a turn with an all ladies panel. So at one of these points, Joe, you're going to get kicked off for the ladies for a night.
Dude, well, what if I identify as?
I know better than that, sir.
Then you're just racist.
You're sexist, not racist. Sexist.
No, I identify.
Well, you can identify as a lady, and if I'm still like, yeah, no, then that's sexist.
Oh yeah. No, that's dope though, man.
Spaced out Maddie's name. I'm so embarrassed. Like, I see her smiling face. She looks so cute tonight.
I've never seen her on camera. I've seen
Really?
I've seen her on I mean I think I've met if she was at the Josh's conference.
She was. She's got really super curly hair. I think one of the days she was wearing a bright yellow kind of off the shoulder deal.
Mm.
She wasn't really in there most of the time. She was hanging out with Nelly, and Nelly was kind of on the fringe. And I just remember at Josh's conference, she giggled constantly. Like
I remember her from Bettina's gig, but the last couple, well, not last couple, but the last time I heard her, she wasn't on camera, but she was in the background on Paranormal Roundtable.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and she's adorable. She's beautiful, and she's sweet as can be. And Nelly too. Like, you don't ever see Nelly on camera, and you might hear her like in the background on Josh's show. I was teasing her about that backstage. I was like, it was nice to hear you actually speak, because she's got a lot to say, and it's a shame she's this shy, and it's just shyness. Not everybody's built to be in front of the camera, and I totally understand that.
yeah.
When I was young, I was painfully shy, and I got right the hell over that. So
yeah, they say that the two biggest fears are fear of dying and public speaking. Like,
it's not my favorite thing to do, public speaking. Like, it's easier. I mean, in front of cameras, it's no big deal. Just like TV shows, people freeze in front of like cameras, like when you're being filmed for a show or whatever. But once you get used to it and you just see it as a piece of machinery, you get used to it. Looking out, I don't consider this public speaking. standing on a stage and looking out at 500 people, which I've done before, that will make you want to like hurl.
Yeah.
That's like when I'm nervous, as everybody who watched this show regularly knows, I speak very quickly when I'm nervous. It's a like I'll talk fast. And once I start calming down, you know, my cadence will slow and I'll start speaking where you can understand what I'm saying usually.
Yeah. I remember the very first show I did, not speaking, but music wise, like I was trying to hold it together, but when I rewatched the video, like I look like literally like a deer in headlights. Like you can see it in my eyes. Like I'm performing and I'm doing a good job. Right. But like if you really look in my eyes, you know, you can see me like I'm like, the hell am I doing? You know, I'm up here in front of
That's people. Why you practice because you've got the muscle memory for, you know, the songs and everything. That's why you practice so much. When I'm on stage with other people, I don't care. I have no inhibition because I feel like I'm blending into the crowd, like I'm just part of a crowd, even though I'm on stage with, you know, people might be looking at me, but they might not be looking at me. They might be checking this person out or paying attention to that over there. You know what I mean? If I'm standing there by myself, like I used to MC the Texas Bigfoot conferences, like in the earlier days, that's intimidating when you're the only person up there talking. That's why I don't like, I don't want to do presentations. Like I'm not interested in that. I'm not like, I'll talk to you one-on-one. I might do a workshop. I'll do a round table, but me standing up there, so the Fae or this and that. I mean, no. I can't do that.
Well, I think that's also what drew me and you together about it, is because we're both kind of doing our shows and we're like, I don't want to go alone.
I need
like holding on to the pole. No, don't.
No. Hold my hand. Take my good arm.
It's my strong hand. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it can be. It really can. You know, but then I remember the first show I went on like a sober kick. I went like 6 months sober or something. Worst 6 months ever. But
reality is overrated.
Yeah, but I did a show sober in Houston, and I could not stop overthinking the crowd. Like I'm sitting there watching everybody, you know, and so like, and I literally dropped an entire freaking verse. Like I blanked out because I'm watching this drunk dude over here and this dude over here and this chick over there, you know, instead of being in my own nugget. But, you know, normally whenever I do shows, like we never even practiced. We never did any kind of rehearsals. Yeah, none of that. Like I think for the very, very first show that we did when we were signed to a record label, like they paid for us to go and do a rehearsal. And I was like, dude, you know, I'm like pounding Budweiser's. I'm like, this is pointless, bro. Like, y'all just wasted a bunch of money because I don't care. like we literally, me and Jaws, we literally go not even talk to each other for like a week and then just meet up at the venue and be like, what songs are we doing? Blah, 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 blah. Be like, all right, you know, and then you're playing at like the House of Blues, you know, in front of, you know, 1,000 people. You know, it's like, oh yeah, what are we gonna do? We'll wing it, you know, no big deal. And rock it like hardcore. Right. Yeah, it was funky.
Yeah, I can see being on stage. Like if I was talented in any way musically, I could see like being comfortable on a stage because there are other people up there, you know. And I'm the type of person that would, just from experience, I know that I would need to rehearse like rehearse until I'm doing it in my sleep, rehearse until I'm dreaming about it. And
Right.
then, because like you did, like I would get spaced out, I would trip up. And what I learned from my cheerleading days is that if I get tripped up in the middle of something, I cannot find my way back. Once I fall, I am dead.
Right.
Dead in the
Right.
water. Because my mind starts like kicking into overdrive, and I'm trying to, and I'm stressing myself out to the point that I get like, I don't know,
overly
amnesia,
self-critical.
yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Everybody's doing it. I don't know where they are. I'm trying to remember, and I'm stressing out, and to the point that I forget everything, like everything. Like my brain locks up.
Yeah. No, I haven't experienced that not sober, but yeah, because the alcohol is a good lubricant for that. It really is, and
I'm
it just
sure, and like the inhibitions out the window. I mean, the older I get, the less I give a shit about a lot of things. Like I don't.
This is true. Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if you laugh at me. I mean, nobody wants that. Like I trust me, I will overanalyze it later.
Yeah.
In the moment, I'm like, meh. Monica at 2 a.m. when she has insomnia is like, why did I do that? What did I do wrong? Let me analyze the way I said that. Was my tone too forceful? Was I looking stupid?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I remember one time I forgot where it was. I think it was in Tomball. We were doing a show, and I was just like, I was having a great time, and I was like jumping over the stage, and someone was like, I forgot afterwards. Someone was like, "Dude, I've never seen. I didn't think you could jump that high because I'm a big dude." I was like, and then like, yeah, like a day later, I'm like, did I jump in front of everybody? That's kind of weird.
Why was I doing that? Like,
Yeah, like
someone. What did I say? Did I say that? Did I say that, or did I think I say it? Like, because a lot of stuff runs through here, like that hamster's jumping around on that wheel. But I do occasionally try to filter what comes out of my old mouth. But when I'm drunk, I'm thinking, don't say that. Don't say that. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. It's open. Mic at the crack house. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. My mind's like, listen, dipshit, stop talking. Nope. Can't do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So tonight's show, what we're gonna knock down is the dark origins behind nursery rhymes, and I got a few of them.
I got the napkin list.
Sweet. Yeah, so I like I said, like I took a nap and I was supposed to be on point, but whenever I woke up, I woke up too late and I was sleeping so good, and so I was very foggy headed. Well, I had a long early part of the day. I was showing my nephew Ghostbusters.
Well, you should have told me to tell me to skip the show, man. Like if you're sleeping good, ride that wave, because good sleep at a certain point is more important. Trust me.
No, well, then I would have been like waking up naturally right about now, and Jen would be like, well, you're just waking up right when I'm going to bed. Then I would have never heard the end of it.
You're right. Funny how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. So Rissel said Ring Around the Rosies.
Which was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of them. So we can dive into that one. And that's the bubonic plague. Because apparently you would get a rash on your cheeks that resembled a ring.
Large
a pocket
black
full
pustules that stank.
Yeah, that stank, right? And the pocket full of posies was to hide the stink,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Like
And
the
then
plague doctor masks, right? Because those were stuffed full of herbs and flowers and everything to try
right,
to mask the scent. Because I mean, it was such a horrible and like, oh man, just rampant disease that people were dying. They couldn't keep up with the dead. Like
yeah,
whole city blocks were like cordoned off. And I want to say in Scotland, there was a whole like tenement or something that was like below ground or partially below. They walled it off to keep all the plague people in there from
mhm.
infecting the rest of the city.
Yeah, and that's where that I didn't even realize it when I was a kid. When they go through and they'd be like, bring out your dead," because they were carrying the big, you know,
Like cart.
carts.
Yeah,
Yeah, and everybody would bring out their dead and throw them on the carts. And yeah, the ashes. They were cremating the
yeah.
bodies as fast as they could. And we all fall down, which is
Symbolic
if
of the
you
death.
had yeah, if you had it, that's it. That you were guaranteed, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, that was literally a death sentence.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
that's it.
just so you know, the bubonic plague still happens.
Oh yeah,
It's out there. Like it infected Yosemite. There were some camps out there, like maybe 5-10 years ago, that the rats were carrying the plague. The fleas on the rats were carrying the plague, and some of the people that were there were getting infected. And when I was doing some research up in Colorado, I was going through a wilderness area, and the varmint mounds, because it's mostly rodent feces. Was that no? That was Ebola, or was that the plague? I can't remember. I just remember thinking like, "Don't kick up the dirt! Don't kick up the dirt." But
right.
yeah, it's still something that happens. Like it happens in nature, and it's still something that there are a handful of cases every year of it.
Well, it's kind of like last night when we were talking about the Plum Island thing. I remember there was a conspiracy about because there was a breakout of
Hantavirus, that's what it is. Yeah.
yeah
No, the
about
kicking up of the feces, that's hantavirus.
oh okay I got you. But yeah, there was a whole thing about they had it stored and they let it out and there was like an outbreak of it. But that was probably well shit. I'm getting old, so that was probably more like 10 years ago
Right.
instead of 5.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and just like the metal band anthrax, that goes around in nature as well. Like cattle will get it.
Yeah. That's that's one that we should do homework and do because remember when it came through where like especially in Texas, I think it was like Fort Worth area or whatever, where it was like thousands of cows just falling out, and then in like Arizona,
I don't remember that.
you don't remember that? Yeah, it
Cows
was
just
like,
falling out in Fort Worth?
dude, yeah, it was like all the way like thousands and thousands of them just dropping. Boom. And then there was the whole one where all the birds were falling out of the
I
sky.
remember
Like,
that. I remember
yeah,
that. Nobody could figure out why.
yeah,
Like just tanking.
yeah. And people were like, "Oh, it's because of fireworks," but there was like, no, we weren't shooting off fireworks.
Yeah, no.
And
Right, yeah.
yeah, spraying the spacey spray.
That I'd buy.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Seed in the clouds. Maybe we're using a new mix that is maybe not so environmentally friendly as decades
Yeah.
past.
Like those new Bigfoot shorts. He's like, dude, found a bag of
Oh my
booger
gosh.
shoes.
Can I tell you how many people like that are not researchers, just friends of mine that know I'm into this shit, sent me those friggin' reels? Like how many people are to the point it's showing up on my FYP on TikTok. I'm like, or I mean, even my Facebook like reels, I'm getting these things. Not because I'm searching it out, it's because I've been sent it so many times.
Right.
I'm I'm opening it and glancing at it. I'm like, man.
Those things are fucking funny, dude. I laugh my
Some of them
ass
are
off.
hilarious.
Yeah, when he gets with Yeti and shit. Like,
Yeah, that was funny.
he's all, me and fuckface are gonna go down and eat some shrooms. And then they're all like running through the forest and shit.
So like dude bro, like Bigfoot dude bro. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Just college frat bros.
Yeah, like college fat bros. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's one where he gets waxed. It's hilarious. But I digress. So what's another one? Let's see. You got one?
So another one is Pita Pita Pumpkin Eater.
Oh yeah. So from what I guess learned on it was he couldn't keep his wife because she was like a hoe bag, basically.
She was a loose woman, as they say.
A loose woman. I never got that term, but yeah. Because
really,
it could be the same one 100 times or 100 different ones. It's
different morals, like
I
moral turpitude.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you think of you're not thinking of loose morals. Yeah, but yeah. So apparently, the whole gig about it was he excommunicated his wife and put her in a giant pumpkin shell. And when I was watching,
because he doesn't do that. That must have been one hell of a friggin' pumpkin.
That's what. Yeah, that's what. Because I was watching the thing with my kid and my nephew, and he was like, "What in a pumpkin? How are you gonna fit? A whole
either she went in there in multiple pieces, or he was raising it for the state fair trophy."
For the state, that's exactly what I said. I was like, "Well, technically, yeah, they have like pumpkins you have to carry with tractors because they're like 700-pound pumpkins, but they're specifically grown for that purpose." No one's like,
what movie was I watching yesterday? And they were like, maybe we can fashion a weapon out of a sharpened gourd. I was like, one of the other characters was like, what? A sharpened gourd? I think it was Dungeons and Dragons. It was so
nice. Jen would love that weapon because every year she gets like those gourds and the ugliest freaking pumpkins that you ever seen that look like they have like acne. I don't know. It's weird.
They look like they got warts and like
like
I feel like I'm gonna get like herpes from touching the pumpkin.
Right. Yeah. And she gets those, and then she goes and after they're getting close to spoiled, she throws them outside, and then we start getting these big pumpkin patches that just kind of grow naturally. But it's Texas, so they don't have water. So
I currently have that in my backyard, and I am trying desperately to keep it alive. And all it's producing currently is male flowers, which it's a sausage cart out there in the old pumpkin patch. Like I need some female flowers to pop up so I can get a God blessed pumpkin.
Bring out your sausage. Bring out your sausage. But yeah, so that's the the Peter Pumpkin Eater. He had to eat a lot of pumpkin. Yeah, he had to eat a lot of pumpkin to fit his chicken there.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that I'm impressed you're even able to grow pumpkins. Like it's witchcraft as far as I'm concerned. Because I've tried so many years to grow a goddamn pumpkin, and God damn it, it's in the shade. I water it every day, and it's like I'm gonna die.
Yeah, no, my moms and pops, they got a big ass garden. Well, I consider it a big ass garden, probably like maybe an eighth of an acre or so, and yeah, they try to grow pumpkins and shit, and it's like, dude, that squash is bigger than the pumpkin. Like,
I can't even
what
grow
the hell?
friggin' zucchini. Like I have to wait until late next month to replant the squash because the squash vine borers murder mine every year. It doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what do we got? What you got on the list?
Okay, next one. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow?
Yeah. So, from what I did my homework on, that was that's Mary Tutor, right?
Tutor. Oh, it's Bloody Mary, yeah.
Bloody Mary, which was Bloody Mary. So, how does your garden grow? That has to do with the bodies in the gardens, right? And what is it about? There's
silver bells and cockle
shells.
So the silver bells are the thumb screws.
Right.
And the cockle shells are some contraption back then that they attached to male junk, you know, as a means of torture, which I imagine pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
They seem kind of sensitive. And pretty maids all in a row. I would have thought those were Iron Maidens, but they're not. They're guillotines.
Yeah, the guillotines. Yeah, because back then, like, contrary to movies and stuff that we know, back in the Gap, the guillotines, they would take like a dozen falls before it actually decapitated.
Oh yeah, I don't understand. That's a block with some weight, all right, on the guillotine. Can you imagine if they aren't bothering to sharpen that what the executioner's axe would have been like? Like, bro, can you take a couple extra scrapes with that grinding stone for me?
Yeah.
How about one chop? That'd be super. Yeah, prefer none. Like, one is too many for me, but if you gotta.
that brings me back, not to shift gears or whatever, but what was the chick's name? She was Henry VIII's chick.
Oh, that poor girl.
Yeah, but he hired like a dude from.
That's not it.
It's not. Yes.
No, I know it's not. Yeah.
You're getting there, though. You're getting there.
Hold on, I'm getting it. Anacleves, Anne Boleyn.
Yeah, but yeah, he actually hired a like a sword dude from, like, I think Asia or something, and instead of like bowing down and doing the guillotine type style, you know, like putting your neck on the block, he was like a one slice dude, and she was like, she sat up praying, and you know, one chop and the nugget was gone. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, no, I can't. Like, I don't want to talk about it too much. That decapitation freaks me out.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
I figure as soon as the spinal cord is cut, then, you know, you're not feeling anything.
You have like 10, 15 seconds of like consciousness.
Well, yeah. See, that was the beginning of the.
Not.
Well, that was the beginning of the research for that whole aspect, because when she got decapitated, she was praying, and everybody saw her mouth still moving, like she was still.
I mean, do you remember Club Dread? Have you seen Club Dread?
Oh yeah.
So the opening murder, she sees her own body flopping around. No.
Yeah.
No. I'm okay.
I love that. Where he's heads or tails.
Okay, next one. Next one, chugging along with the old nursery rhymes that are dark as hell. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on. So yeah, that this one intrigues me because where the fuck did we come up with the egg?
Yeah,
Like
because nowhere
nowhere in
does
that.
it say he was an egg. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently it was it was in like the European Civil War or something like that.
How many wars
And
over there? It was a
yeah,
war in Europe.
yeah. Pick one. Pick any
Just
of
insert war here.
them. But it was a cannon. It was
Yeah,
like
well,
the
they
biggest
believe it
cannon.
was a cannon. Like it's a belief that it was a cannon.
Right.
That
And
and all the king's horses and all the king's men
couldn't
couldn't get
yeah.
that big boy up there on that wall again.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Boy. All right.
Called him biggin.
He's a big boy. What I call my moose butt, my cat, moose butt. He's my big boy.
Oh, my new little cat.
So cute.
Oh yeah, it's baby. Not yeah.
It's like a little squirt. It is adorable.
Yeah. And I because Jen has a bunch of cats outside, and I don't give a shit about any of them because I'm not a cat dude. But I had to go and get really, really drunk on rum, and that little thing's all meow, 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 and I'm like, man, I can't stand it anymore. I gotta go.
You're a baby crying. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went out there and pulled him in like 4 a.m, and I'm like, no, we gotta
Are
take
you
it.
Trenton? What
Yeah,
the
we gotta take it in, take care of it. It's just a baby. Because all the mama cats were, and then our cat Diddle, she's a total bitch. She's like, the fuck are you bringing this thing into my house? And like wouldn't talk to Jen or like was pissed off at Jen for
Maybe
like
she'll lay off your leg for a minute.
a good week. Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah.
Okay, next one.
Yeah. Let's do it.
3 blind mice. 3 blind mice.
See how they run.
See
So
how they run.
Hickory Dickory Dock.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I energized play immediately through the head. I mean, Jack and Jill as well. Jack and
Yeah.
Jill. What came down with the what was it?
With 250, yeah. So it was like money wise, yeah, 250. Yeah. But yeah, so that thing also has to do with Mary Tudor. Yeah, see, and I forgot about that part of the nursery rhyme because I guess they dumbed it down. But where it's talking about her chopping their tails off with a carver's knife or whatever.
Yeah, I always thought that was a little gruesome for a child's rhyme. Even as a child, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
Seems
Like
kind of like a dick move, but all right.
But yeah, so that had to do with because she was hardcore into. And then we go back to the Catholicism thing. Yeah. So if you didn't convert to Catholicism, so the blind mice represent that they were blind to Catholicism, and they weren't maimed or anything. I forget who it was. They were like 3 heads of state or something like that. They were actual individuals, but she ended up burning them at the stake.
How pleasant.
Yeah.
How pleasant.
Believe in my religion or burn at the
You would have really hated my show last night where I was just digging into the Catholic organism.
Yeah. But it's true, man. It's like, dude, like I'm so holy and pure, and I believe in the word of God so
I mean,
much that
I'm
I
just
will.
saying, like, shoving your religion up somebody's butt is just, like,
Yeah,
the worst. It's the worst. Like,
but
mine's
yeah,
better than yours. I mean, no, I don't know about that. Like, and I think they're all pretty equal.
right. But I mean, it's that whole you know, the love of God and mercy of God and
Mm,
peace. And if you don't believe in it,
yeah.
fuck you. Like,
You heard of
I
the
will
Spanish
kill you.
Inquisition? Who ran that one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. You
Tell you
will
who didn't.
die.
Protestants didn't.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, they were. I think they were Protestants.
Yeah, it was the
Um,
Protestants that she was
yeah,
like antagonizing, that she was being a jerk to, because that was, I
yeah,
mean, a lot of that's the big, like, the IRA. It was all Protestant versus Catholic, like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do remember that. Okay, next one.
Hmm.
Rain, rain, go away, come again another day.
Right. Okay. Um, that one, it's actually about is what's here we go again with England. I think it was Spain and England when they were going to war,
Mm-hmm.
and um originally it wasn't come against some other day, it was go to Spain and go away.
Yeah.
Because one of them, I forget which side, suffered loss because they weren't used to the elementals.
Yeah, so the English Navy or naval situation there, uh, they were able to use the rain to their advantage to
Right.
drive the Spanish back.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I was watching with my son and my nephew, and I was like, yeah, it's just like there was a lot of wars and stuff like that, like Waterloo, and where it was just they're not used to being fighting in Siberia. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
yeah, like, oh shit, winter.
No, that's not just winter. That's like some House of Stark weird ass winter shit. Ain't nobody prepared for that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, so that's basically what it was, and they were like, you know, um, caught by the elements, and it turned a flip side on the war.
Yeah.
You know, and in all of these, it's just really weird um how it became a children's thing, kind of like with the playground one, or the playground episode we did last week. It's
Well,
just
I think that children were not spared the atrocities, right? And
right,
so the children, or some compassionate soul, parlayed it into something that was a little more palatable for a younger child. It's a coping mechanism for the crap that's going down around them, right?
yeah, yeah. I can dig that. That makes it a little bit more compassionate.
I
I'm
mean,
just like,
there was very little compassion for the children back then, I assure you. They're like, yeah, we'll make more. Stick them in the gym. Cotton mills, they're
yeah,
tiny.
yeah.
Come back there with all those moving sharp parts.
The wrong boy died. Yeah.
Okay, so next one.
Uh-huh.
Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with $1.25. Jill came down with 250. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it went. Um, I'm vague on this one. I know it had to do with because Jack came down and lost his crown, right?
Mhm.
So it was the king,
It was the French king
right?
where Marie
And
Antoinette comes in.
and then yeah, and then Marie Antoinette. So he lost his crown, literally his nugget, guillotine style or whatever. And
Jill
and then
came
she,
tumbling after.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's that, and that is our list. That's our list.
That was the list.
That's the list, dude. All crossed.
Yeah, so that's our nursery rhymes.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people in chat had some, but we didn't research those. So, I mean, we could talk about them and, you know, tell you what we think, but we didn't do any research on the background of those. Like Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick, and Itsy Bitsy Spider and Rockabye Baby, which I always was just like, that's the most horrendous like song about shitty parents in the world. Like Rockabye Baby in the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, cradle will fall, down will come baby. I mean, can you imagine being a kid hearing that? Like, you're putting me in a tree in a storm? Like, what the? And then, you know, even as a child, I was like, that's some shit ass parents. Like, who's putting their kid in a tree during a windstorm? And it's like, again, can have more kids. Wasn't big enough to stick in the cotton mills.
Right. It was they. I mean, they were just like, don't worry about it. Put some dirt on that shit.
Walk it off.
Oh, you mentioned one outside the box that I had no privy to, the London Bridge.
Oh, London Bridge is falling down.
Yeah.
Falling down. Yeah, that's kind of all over the place. Nobody really knows, to be honest, what it's about. They thought that it could have been about, let me find my little research that I did there. I think I've moved on since then. No, I closed it. Let me type it in there again. Because they were talking about that London Bridge was falling down. I'm trying to remember why it was falling, but they're talking about the verse where it says, take the keys and lock her up. Could have been about the medieval practice of locking people in rooms until they died. Not necessarily locking. Sometimes they bricked them up as well. That was pretty common, actually, when they just like created an oubliette out of an existing room.
Yeah. Well, that's like what? Like Cask of Amontillado, Edgar Allan Poe, the Cask of Amontillado.
I don't know.
Like it's a Edgar Allan Poe story, and basically like this dude disrespects this other dude's family, and they kind of get into it, and he's like, dude, I'll tolerate no disrespect. And there's a certain wine, and it's called Amontillado. Yeah. And he's like, I got it. They start getting drunk, and he's like, yeah, I got a cask of Amontillado down here in the catacombs, and it's his family's catacombs.
The good old catacombs.
Yeah, so he gets them all drunk and takes them down there. And then dude can barely freaking walk. And he's like, nah, just a little bit further. Come on. And then dude passes out and wakes up. And the other dude is like literally bricking him in, like into a little.
But I also feel like mortar doesn't dry immediately.
Right. Well, I think he chained him to the wall.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess if you're putting a few courses of brick in there, it's not just like a single course, like one little wall of brick you could probably kick out if you could get to it. But
yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, if you're gonna try to trap me in a brick of soft mortar, and you better put some effort into that, because.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going down fighting. You trust me, if I can.
Yeah, I will Hulk smash through.
Yeah, I will muster up the strength of all the ancestors and like power move that crap until I break an ankle or something. Like
right.
I would keep at it. So it says Here, this little article says the English nursery rhyme London Bridge is falling down seems to be innocent on the surface, but some scholars believe it's a reference to immurement, the medieval punishment where a person is locked inside a room until they died. So, immurement, which made me think of symbolism. I think the word you're looking for is symbolism. For all my Boondock Saint fans out there, one of my favoriteest movies.
Wedge says, notice they used London Bridge for the Silver Shamrock song in Halloween 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sure did.
There's got to be some significance there then.
3 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Yeah. Good call. I never even tied those two together, Wedge.
Right?
Like, not at all until you just said it.
Well, I really don't like Halloween 3, so that's like doesn't exist in my universe.
Dude, you got to rewatch it for me because it's kind of like it's that same concept that we were talking about. It combines like the AI thing, the virus thing, like all into one. Kind of like The Stand, basically like The Stand. If you really, really watch it. Yeah. What was that dude?
Okay.
Tom Atkins?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll watch it for you.
Watch it for me.
I watched Hard Eyes for you. You're like, yeah, it's cool. Watch it.
It's cool. I just don't like.
I watched Fear Street, Prom Queen.
Yeah. Do you like that one?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's like reading a young adult horror novel. I mean,
yeah, it's like reading Goosebumps or something.
Yeah, it's a little amped up Goosebumps.
Yeah. No, but I thought they did a good job on it. As far as that, because that whole series is kind of flaky. It's like Gen Z's ideology of what Gen X was, and it's
hilarious. Like people that actually lived through it watching these, like
yeah,
interesting recreations. I will say, like, because I was critiquing the prom dresses because I'm like, these are my dance days, and I remember literally every single dress I wore to a dance in high school. Remember all of them. And I mean, some of them they had pretty well pegged, but like you said, they're using terms from today, like YOLO.
Right? Yeah.
YOLO to me back in the day, I'd have been like Yellow County. Like,
yeah. What is that?
Trying to say yellow? Did you say yellow?
Is that a new Dunkin' Yo-Yo?
And can I say, like, when YOLO started to come, man, I wanted to slap that word out of people's mouths. That's one of those words I just really couldn't stand. Just like woo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the word woo. Like,
or yeet or thought.
Thought. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Thought of that.
Stupid.
Who thought of that?
Literally. Yeah, no shit. Did you get a chance to check out The Barn?
I have not yet.
Dude, yeah,
I'll try to check it over the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good one.
About it next week because I know you keep telling me to watch it.
I mean, it's not like fucking fascinating, but it's pretty good. Like I actually, as we're saying, noggin. Nice. That's what I do, Mickey G.
Traded in there like a little wormy.
But yeah, but it feels closest to home as far as something new, for back in the day.
Okay, I'll give it a go. Like, I love me some 80s, like legit 80s slasher. I didn't watch shit I thought was stupid the first time, just for that nostalgia feeling. Like the Slumber Party, not even the Slumber Party Massacre. It was like the Slumber Party Massacre, like part 12, right? And it's a dude with an electric guitar that's got like a
Yeah.
drill bit on it, and these broads in the slumber party cannot run fast enough to get away from
Right.
a twig of a man with
This
an
playing,
unwieldy electric guitar that has a God blessed drill bit at the end. Like, that's like the stupidest way to die. Like, I'd be so embarrassed that that's how I was murdered.
dude. It's hilarious that you say that because I was actually watching in Search of Darkness Part 3, which goes over all the old school horror movies, VHS style, and they were going over that, and I had a buddy over here, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, he's like this dude playing rockabilly music, you know, and like drilling people."
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, the most, other than all the other bullshit, I was like, you know, the most unrealistic part that I find about all of it. And he's like, what? And I was like, it goes back to part 1, but part 2 still sticks in the category. They didn't have freaking battery powered drills back. And if they did, they'd last. Yeah, you'd have like a 200-foot extension cord. It just didn't happen. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? And even if they did back then, it would have to be the size of a car battery, you know, to last that thing like 4 whole minutes. Yeah.
So have you seen the movie Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon?
No, I have not.
You need to check that out because it is about a legit serial killer. And he's got a documentary crew following him around, and he gives tips of the trade on how to become a serial killer. And he's got a buddy who's another serial killer whose final girl he ended up like brainwashing and marrying, but he still abuses her like in this really sick like way. Like, he'll lock her up in the closet for like hours at a time. It's like a tongue-in-cheek documentary, and it doesn't really turn out the way you think. But he gives trades like cardio. It's like way before Zombieland came out.
Right.
But he was like, you got to walk, and these people are running, but you got to make it seem like you're just walking and keeping up with them. It's like a kind of a comedy horror, but I really recommend it if you hadn't seen it. It's pretty awesome.
Is it based on real shit?
No. I mean, maybe somewhere, but like none that I know of.
Well, because the duality or the dual people made me think of Lucas, Henry Lee Lucas, and what was that?
No. They're not going on killing sprees together. He's his mentor, and
okay.
The documentary crew over. He's like, this is my mentor, Jacob, and this is this old dude who like locks himself in a coffin to like overcome fears and like it's some power move, and like I can't remember why this old, because he's like 70, like his mentor is like 70 at this point, and he's a young man, and his final girl of a wife like is ditzy as hell. Like, I don't know if she's been drugged like repeatedly, like she's been mentally like broken down. Right. And she's still trying to be like Betty Crocker wife, like a Stepford wife. And he locks himself in his coffin, and she's supposed to go get him out or, unlock the thing after like 4 hours. And he'd been in there for like 10 hours. And Leslie comes over. He's like, holy shit, he's been in there for like 10 hours. He's dehydrated or whatever it is. It's like a comedy horror. But it's an interesting premise because it's like this documentary crew that doesn't really believe that he's a serial killer. I think they think that they're just like watching this deluded guy who's just kind of maybe creepy and pervy because he's stalking these kids while he's taking them around, giving them tips and showing them like behind the scenes kind of stuff for serial killers like Jason and all of that. And he's got a whole getup. He's got a weapon of choice. He's got a mask that he wears. And turns out he really legit starts killing off these kids that he's been stalking, and the documentary crew's like, holy shit, we thought he was like, they realize they're in the middle of this now. And so it's a really interesting movie.
What's it called again?
It's called Behind the Mask.
The
Rise and Fall of Leslie Vernon.
Gotcha.
Just type in Leslie Vernon, you'll find the show. Or Behind the Mask. Yeah.
Pancho Zork says horrors are not supposed to be funny. I highly disagree with that.
No, I think they can be both.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
tongue in cheek in there sometimes.
Yeah, you're either all in it or it's like Return of the Living Dead is one of the best freaking horror movies ever made, and it's
got some tongue-in-cheek moments. Yeah. You know, because believe me, if I were like in a situation like those, if I had a POV camera, I'd be like inadvertently making jokes just because that's how I deal with stress. You know, I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like when it's like,
yeah, remember that? What was the commercial back in it came out a few years ago where they're like, "Let's go hide in there let's go hide in the barn with all those chainsaws or whatever."
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Like, why don't we go to the van that's running with the keys in it right there? No, Deborah. Like, we have to go hide behind these hay bales next to the barn full of sharp objects, and the killer's like standing right there behind them listening to it.
Yeah,
I remember.
And and I recently watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, dude,
that is suicide cult.
That shit goes so fucking hard because it's like.
But it's so funny because these kids are think they're like running away from Syria, and they're like offing themselves in like the most brutal way, just because they're not paying attention and they're panicked.
Yeah, it's like when he saws into the tree stump or whatever that has the wasp nest in it. And he's like, and he's like running with the chainsaw and shit, and the kid's like, oh shit, and like impales himself on a brick.
But I mean, legit, like I would probably run blindly away from somebody doing that too.
Well, yeah, hell yeah. But like there's the point where they're like running side by side, and the dude with the chainsaw is running faster than him. And he like looks over, he's like, wait a minute. And then catches the tree branch through the sternum, you know. It's like, yeah, so yeah, I love stuff like that. Because you know, there was a point in the late 80s, early 90s where horror movies got so cliched, and I think that's why like Nightmare on Elm Street stuck with it so hard, because they incorporated that comedy value into it. So Freddy Krueger had all those little one-liners, and
I mean,
you know, it was like, all right, let's quit being serious about the bullshit, and you know, let's realize it for the corniness that it is. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly having fun with his kills for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you know, that's actually based on a real gig, because I forgot what it was. It was don't crucify me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it was like a thing from I want to say the Japanese POWs that were in America, and and there was a thing where I forgot what they called it, but it was like a sleep demon, and if you fell asleep, you died. And
are you talking about The Terror? It's a TV show where they were talking about the internment camps, and there was a ghost running through the internment camps.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a TV show called The Terror, and the first season was actually based on a book called The Terror, which is about an Antarctic expedition that goes horribly weird. And the second season was the Japanese internment, or the Asian American, I shouldn't say Japanese, but this family that it centered around 100% was Japanese, but like just the Asian Americans were all like kind of rounded up and put in internment camps during World War II, which is fun little fact of history that our government just likes to like sweep that right under the rug. Like they legit like took their house, they seized their homes. Like these are American citizens that they were like into the camp because you look like the enemy and we don't trust you. So which was just a shit ton of bullshit, like just so much bullshit. But anyway, yeah, it's a really good show. That was a good one because it was like obviously the horrors of living in basically a concentration camp and on American soil as an American citizen, but also you've got these family, like not even family, but cultural ties and ghosts coming to haunt you. You know, like the sins of your forefathers are coming to haunt you in present day. Because
I dig it.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching or either reading or watching when Wes Craven found out about that. That's when he did. And there is actually a child murderer named Fred Krueger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can actually go to his gravesite and like check it out. But he wore a fedora, yeah.
I mean, I got nothing for child murderers. I will like go shit on your grave. Fuck you. So
shit on your grave.
Shit on your grave. So so good horror movies based on no things in the graveyard. So there was one that came out like a long time ago during the first 12 nights. Was it 12 Nights of Fear? It was a film festival where they took 12 films, right? Curated like 12 films, and they only aired for a certain amount of days, like in major cities for like 3 days. And this was one of the first year's application, like films that were out, because I think you voted on them and they won an award. And it's called The Grave Dancers. And it's about these friends, and I can't remember, I think they might go to a funeral of another friend, which is why they're in a graveyard to begin with. And it's these 3 friends, and somebody slips them a note. I want to say, I could be wrong because it's been a minute since I've seen it. Either slips them a note during the funeral or something. Anyway, they get this cryptic note that's like this kind of riddle rhyme about, you be carefree, and once I was alive like you, and this and that. Is basically inviting them to come into the graveyard and dance, right? So they get shit-faced after this funeral, and they go into the graveyard and they start dancing and partying on these graves. Like each of them is on top of a specific grave, and they are just being insanely disrespectful to these 3 graves. Well, they start getting haunted by the occupants of those graves. And they weren't just in the regular cemetery with like, the guys from the Oregon Trail who died from dysentery. No, they're in like the psychotic, like serial killer portion of the freaking cemetery, like the mentally disturbed portion of. So not only are they getting haunted by pissed off ghosts, they're getting haunted by ghosts of pissed off, like mentally unstable people. It's really a very interesting movie, and it is kind of creepy. I mean, it is pretty scary in some places, and it's an interesting concept. I really like it. So if you dig stuff like that, then check out Grave Dancers.
Grave Dancers, dig it. Getting into some of the comments. Two Shadows says the original House on the Left was great. There are two movies that literally made me physically ill, and
The Last House on the Left was one of them.
Last House on the Left was one of them.
That's like brutal.
The essay, man, I just do that.
I don't understand like why so many movies had that as part of the plot in the 70s. Did you notice that?
Well, I mean, I understand why, because like if you look at 70s horror, before the 80s slashers came in, and And that started actually in '78 with Michael Myers, I do believe. I know there were ones before those, but it like it was just bad people. Bad people is what scared you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it wasn't some, serial killer in the woods with a freaking hockey mask or nothing like it. It was just the evil people around you, you know. So yeah, I mean, and that's the most like I spit on your grave,
Yeah.
run bitch run, last house on the left. That sparked uh don't don't go out, when you're not supposed to be going out,
Mm,
especially if you're a female,
yeah.
kind of like that. Um
Well, I remember I spit on your grave. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, oh my God. Like,
yeah,
holy shit.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I mean, good for her. I'd want to hunt every last one of those son of a bitches down.
yeah. Bucket of Blood, that was another
Mm.
one. But yeah, it was that kind of same concept. Like, what are you scared of? Because there wasn't a boogeyman factor,
It's
right?
just
So it was,
it's like everyday monsters, right?
yeah, your everyday monsters, right? And
Oh, go ahead.
the other movie that made me physically ill was, and there's two parts to it, was Faces of Death,
Mm.
and it was because I was eating Taco Bell, and it got to the autopsy part,
Oh, yeah.
and
Autopsy.
like, and I was like, literally, I like unwrapped a taco, and there's like the autopsy part, blah blah blah, and I went and crunched into a taco right when they're cracking a skull open. So it was like,
You're your own Foley artist.
yeah. So like the sound was like, I was like crunch, and it's like crunch, and I was like, ah. So yeah, that's those are the only two that ever really got to me. Other than that, like I just
I
I
don't
took
know that like I purposefully avoid movies that I know are going to make me physical, like Human Centipede kind of shit. Like I don't want to see that. I want to see that. The first Hostel movie, I don't want to see that. I didn't want to see most of the second Hostel movie. I just kind of like did this, like kind of through a lot of it. Like torture porn is not my thing. Like
right,
a
right,
lot
right,
of those movies are, and it's just torture porn, and I'm not. That's not scary. That's just freaking gross. That's not scary. It is gross.
right.
I mean, if you want to like start thinking really deep about like, okay, are things like this probably are just snuff films, right? In real life, IRL snuff films is what the Hostel franchise is all about. Like you
Yeah,
pay a lot
yeah,
of money, and instead of watching it on film, you get to do it yourself.
yeah,
You know, but I can't with movies like that. I
yeah.
refuse to even like expose myself to that shit.
You got to
Literally.
watch the Human
No.
Sexipede.
Oh no.
It's hilarious, and it goes. It's much more pleasurable than the Human Centipede
I like it wouldn't take much to be more pleasurable than that movie, I imagine. Like, once
because
I found out what it was about, I was like, well,
well, the Human
uh,
Sextipede's all about the good parts of it, like
like the fun bits.
the fun stuff.
So here's a movie I got an overlay for it. Do you have a fear of snakes?
No, kind
No.
of no, yeah,
Venom. I think
not
there's
the
two movies out called Venom. No, obviously not the action
right.
one. This is like a legit horror movie. And there's this one, and I want to say there's another one that came out around the same time that was obviously snake centric. But what happens here is there is this podunk town in Louisiana, right on the bayou. And there's a group of teenagers, as there usually is, that are out kind of doing their stupid shit on a Friday night. And there is an elderly woman who is like the hoodoo lady of the area, and they're
Okay.
getting ready to build this big development. And what she has done is she's gone and milked the evil out of people, like, which was a thing you could do, like, it's a thing, right? And basically the snakes take the evil into them, right? And she has them in the suitcase, and she had buried it in the swamp where they're developing like a community or something there. So she has to go dig up the suitcase to move it somewhere else. Well, as she's transporting it across the only bridge in town, like, this stupid kid like hits her, and she like is teetering on the edge of the bridge. And the local tow truck driver, who's kind of a misfit,
Night,
uh,
Mickey.
Night Mickey, he is trying to save her, right? And she's like, get the suitcase. We can't let it out. It's got to stay in the suitcase. Well, as he's trying to like get her out of the car, I think he gets her out of the car, but he goes back to kind of try to get the suitcase out of the back seat because she's just, having a fit about getting that suitcase out. And he and the car go over the side of the bridge. And of course, he's in the water. The snakes come out and they just attack him, right? So all the evil they had stored up in them is now transferred to this dude who starts kind of morphing into this snake man hybrid. And the snakes are the evil in the form of snakes is inside of him as well. And it's about how he is systematically hunting down the kids that caused the accident.
Ah, okay. So kind of like almost like a pumpkin man or pumpkin head snake.
Kind of like Pumpkinhead was summoned specifically to take care of those kids. He's just doing it because he's pissed off evil dead dude at this point.
Okay. I dig it. Yeah, so yeah, my thing with snakes is when I was younger, I was not a fan of snakes or reptiles, or because I consider them like soulless creatures. And then when I got with Jen, she's got a ball python named Monty Python.
No.
And like it was weird that once I like got used to him, I was like, dude, this dude has like a personality. He's got like, he's a scary bitch. Like he's like, oh. Like if you give, hate to say it, but he's kind of a racist. If you give him any mouse that's not white or female, he won't eat it. He'll just like curl up and he's like, nah, I don't want nothing to do. Like so it has to be an all white female, a single white female. So that so that got me into like I guess softening up to him. But yeah, if you had told me that shit when I was like 25 or I'd have been like, nah, snakes.
See, I think very few things on this planet that have a heartbeat don't have a soul.
I'm starting to learn that.
If anything, really, I think if you've got a heartbeat, everything has its own personality. And if you've got a personality, you've got spirit, and you've got spirit, you got a soul.
Yeah. And I used to think that about like birds too, like because they're just like,
I love birds. I mean,
I just never thought of them as
a fan of spiders, but I don't go out of my way to kill them. Like as long as they're not trying to occupy the same vicinity that I am in,
right,
they can live. Like I'm not out to exterminate everything, because I really do think that everything's got a right to live, like everything does. And once they're gone from this plane, they're gone from this plane in that existence, and that really like it gets me. Like like I'll see patterns on animals, like and this is gonna sound stupid, but like even koi fish, right? I want koi fish so bad. My husband and I were looking at some, and they're beautiful to me. Like the patterns on them, the gold and white patterns and gold and black and white, and they're just gorgeous. And I think like every every one of those is a unique pattern. And
Yeah.
each one of those, once this animal is gone, is not going to be there again. Like this is its limited little time on Earth. I mean, it kind of makes me sad to think that they're stuck in a friggin' koi pond. It sounds like a shit ass life. And the same with like fish tanks. Can you imagine being stuck in the same room your entire life, like hitting the walls? Like, oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm not saying that like I'm on the border with fish. Like I don't know that fish necessarily have person up. Maybe they do. I just haven't spent that much time with them. But just thinking about everything in its existence, it's such a short little time span.
Yeah.
That they're going to be there and how unique everything is. So that's me getting deep for the moment. We'll forget about talking about that.
No, I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm the same way. Like my brother-in-law, well, ex-brother-in-law, like he used to have all these freaking, dogs and shit, and he'd put them on chains and have them like outside or wrapped around a tree, basically. And I'm like, dude, like that's no kind of like if we co-inhabit inside of a house, and like he can run up and sit on the couch with me and we watch TV, blah blah blah. Fine, so fucking so be it. Like yeah, you're still in captivation. You
don't have to be like tormented like that,
right? Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And but
I guess I've got empathy for almost everything on this planet.
Yeah, but that I think it's more of like a isolation factor. Like if you're just out there and someone comes and it's like being in prison for committing no crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, the only time you wiggle your bed like, hey, I'm good, glad to see you, bro, blah blah blah, and you just drop food off and walk back inside, like, dick move.
Yeah, I mean all of it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying letting them roam the streets is the right thing, but there's you put yourself like if you were that soul, would you want to be treated like that?
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, and you'd want to exit this plane as quickly as possible.
You want that better. I don't want to get too deep into it. I'll get like pissed off.
Yeah, I know.
I'll go down the rabbit hole, dude, and it'll piss me off, and then I definitely won't sleep tonight.
But no, we've been on for a good hour and 22 minutes. So, and I know you had a long day, so and I just woke up from a horrible nap, but
hopefully you can sleep again.
Yeah, no, I know. I already got they're lined up, but they're like, "What's a DVD?"
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm like, watch this so you can stay out of the fuck off the internet, so I can actually no.
DVD.
So I can actually broadcast something. But yeah, so I'm gonna get tied into. They're gonna be like, "Breezy, let's watch some movies." And I'm like,
show them faces.
Y'all ever seen? You ever seen Porky's?
I love Porky's.
Oh yeah, dude.
I can identify the mole.
Oh yeah. What's 35 and 45 or 33 and 45 mean? I don't know if that is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other than I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired now. I'd like to take a shower and go to bed.
Yeah. I mean, I already took the shower, but I wouldn't mind just chilling and doing nothing and going brain dead for a while.
There you go.
But yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in. What do you got planned? What do you got going on?
I got a bunch of crap I got to do tomorrow. Like my friend's coming over to work on my house some more, and then I've got to go out with Chris and take care of some crap. I'm going to be gone for like most of the day and most of the evening. And Then I've got BMR's show, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. 10 p.m. Central, because that seems to be the time for me. Anyway, everybody's like, yeah, 10. What time is your show? 10.
Dude, we've been doing I think I said it.
Do Donnie's show, but I'm not going to be home when it's there, when he was going to do it. So I felt kind of bad about that.
I think I've said it on here before, but we've been doing both shows of ours at 10 o'clock for what, a year now, almost?
Over a year.
Yeah, and like every fucking night at fucking like 9, Jen's like, you got to go on in 30 minutes. And I'm like, 9:30? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, she's like, that's what time you always go on. And I'm like,
in what dimension?
Like, actually, fuck no, And actually, my youngest son, he came up and he was like, so Dad, you going on tonight at 9:30? And I was like, looked at him like,
don't start.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm just fucking, I'm just playing with you. And I was like,
I'm just kidding, Dad. I know.
Yeah, I was like, that's it. No more nuggies for you. So 10 o'clock tomorrow, check out Monica on Bigfoot Michigan Robs. I was gonna make a joke about it on his chat, because I was buzzing. I was gonna be like, he calls himself Bigfoot Michigan Rob, but bet he wears a size 9.
Hilarious. That's funny.
But I didn't want to come off because like sometimes shit gets lost in the chat.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, they don't get
the humor. Then I sound like a dick.
Like, the fuck's wrong with your friend, Monica?
Like, I swear, I was just playing. Come on now.
It's breezy. What do you want?
Yeah, it's breezy. Come on. Well, all right. Well, everybody, y'all have a good night. And thank you for tuning in as always. And from me and Monica, we love you all and have a blessed everything.